Happy New Year, everybody. Here we are in 2022. This is our second January of filming our virtual community, and it's all because of you. We are reaching out. We are seen in Australia, in the Pacific Northwest, in Italy, in the East Coast, here and there, and everywhere. So to all of you in our virtual community, I wish you the happiest and most prosperous and joyous new year. And so, let's settle in. Let's have our virtual celebration together.
It's a glorious day on the planet I love. Let me tell you what I'm thinking of. 'Cause I've been wondering why it was, but it's just life doing what it does. And we keep trying to mess it up, they keep trying to bring us down. So I'm just gonna smile at everything around, 'cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. It's a glorious day on the planet I love. And don't tell me about someday somehow, 'cause all I need is right here, right now. I got some rhythm and I got some rhyme. I got my music and I got my mind. We were singing in circles, imprisoned in the past. Now I'm just gonna be, and I'm free at last, 'cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. It's a glorious day on the planet I love. Because there's children playing somewhere. How's life on Jupiter? I don't care, no, 'cause we've got lovers just laying there. Oh yeah. Well, I'm no hero, I'm not brave. I'm just tired of being afraid. 'Cause I've been wondering why it was, but it's just life doing what it does. And I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. I'm gonna rise above that old push and shove, 'cause I've got earth beneath my feet and the sky above. Ah, yeah. It's a glorious day on the planet I love. Whoa, oh, oh, it's a glorious day now. Oh, 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 it's a glorious day. Yeah. Oh, 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 it's a glorious day. A glorious day on the planet I love. A glorious day on the planet I love. A glorious day on the planet I love.
So this is our virtual celebration for the first week in January of 2022. So Happy New Year again, a prosperous New Year to you all. You know, it's also the month that we start another theme. We do a theme every month, and we're building on an annual theme, which is finding spiritual fulfillment in all the everyday things we do. It comes from the Zen teaching, chop wood, carry water, because it answers the question, what does one do before enlightenment? They chop wood, they carry water. What do you do after you're enlightened? You chop wood, you carry water. So in January, our theme is going to be this, that we find spiritual fulfillment by being open to learning new things, new ways to express ourselves, new ways to do things, new ways to look at things. And sometimes what that means is looking at things that we think we know, we believe we understand, that we absolutely know at the very, very bones of our being that we have a handle on, but we approach them with new eyes. We approach them with an opportunity to see them again. And you know, one of my favorite traditions that kind of comes from the New Thought tradition is this. It's that every January we sort of go for what we call back to basics. Back to basics meaning that we go into the first chapter, actually the introduction of the Science of Mind text, and we sit with the 4 things that Ernest Holmes has to say there. The thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. But what I'd love to do is to explore these themes again, but with new eyes, you know, because a lot has happened in this last year. You know, all of us had opportunities to look at things in a new way. You know, something that Ernest Holmes said about our teaching is he wanted it open at the top. He didn't want it to be a closed system, but it's an evolving system. It's been evolving since he first began to articulate it back in the 20s. We've learned so much more about how the mind works. We've learned the nuances of the brain. We've understood the body. We've understood our relationship. Quantum physics is giving us a lens of how we begin to see the cosmos in a whole new way, different from how he understood it and different from how he taught it, creating a space for us to look at it with new eyes and learn it again as if we've learned it for the first time. From Ernest Holmes, this is the simple meaning of a true metaphysical teaching. The study of life and the nature of the law, governed and directed by thought, always conscious that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and for us. So, 2 things just right here we can play with. The first is this, what I love, and he said this once before, and it's true. You know, our teaching is simple, not easy. The simplicity is this, is that thoughts are causative. That if you want to take new thought and distill it down, that's the very essence of our teaching. That's the pure, simple thought itself. Thoughts are causative. And however, whatever metaphor we want to use about that, it comes down to that. We are what we pay attention to. We are what we think about. We become the thing that we desire. Where our conscious mind goes, the rest of us go. You know, you've heard me talk about this book, The Art of Racing in the Rain. And there's this great line that's true metaphysics. Where the eyes go, the car follows. Where your attention is where you're headed. That's the good news and the bad news. That's the simplicity of it. The challenge, the excitement, the juice is learning then how do we begin to develop this. And he gives us a hint. And that is this, to become conscious every day, every hour, every moment, to be aware that we live in a spiritual universe. So what does that mean? It means first that there are certain laws that govern things, like gravity is a law, you know, that you participate with it. But there are other laws as well, deeper laws, more subtle laws, that there's a power of love that transforms things, that there's a law of grace that blesses things, that there is a law that takes place within the imagination itself. And so as practitioners of metaphysics, these are the things that we begin to study. From Ernest Holmes in The Science of Mind, to learn how to think is to learn how to live, for our thoughts go into a medium that is infinite and its ability to do and to be. And so, This year, we're planning on learning how to think in a whole new way. We're planning to think differently so that we can live differently. You know, when it comes to consciousness, we are sort of trinosophic in how we approach and how we become aware. And what I mean by that is that there are three parts of consciousness. There's three parts of mind. There's reason, there's memory, and there's imagination. But I think the queen is the imagination. You know, reason is taking what we've already known and understand and organizing it in such a way that it dictates our actions. To use reason, we have memory. Memory is that which is anchored in our body, anchored in our mind. It is a story that we tell ourselves as we make sense or put into context events that have happened to us before. Both reason and memory need past events. They need prototypes that our mind can wrap itself around in order for them to make sense of where things go. But the imagination, this is where the juice is. You know, one of my great heroes in New Thought was this very interesting character that you'll hear more about this month, a man by the name of Neville Goddard. And this is what he says. Imagination is both conservative and transformative. It is conservative when it builds its work from images supplied by memory and the evidence of the senses. It is creatively transformative when it imagines things as they ought to be. And so here is where the real power is, to create mental images from things that haven't happened yet, and to organize an experience in the way that we desire it to be. This is a very powerful thing. You know, it is said that we are made in the image and likeness, the imagination of the divine. And that is our most creative power that we have, is the ability to imagine. And not just imagine, but to believe. To believe it's possible. And so the thing itself is this. It's the power of conscious thought. The thing itself is this, is that we live in a spiritual universe governed by specific laws that we can consciously begin to use. The thing itself is this. It's becoming conscious, aware of what we're aware of. And to do a real Socratic inquiry. Does this serve me? Or should I let it go? You know, something that Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich, I think is so powerful. And what I would offer is, this is our practice for the week. What Napoleon Hill says is this, is to be on guard and avoid people or circumstances that make you feel inferior. Breathe that in. Breathe that in. Because sometimes people don't consciously desire to do this, but they do it anyway. If you're in a position where you are feeling inferior, where you're feeling less than, when you're feeling wrong, you are siphoning off that imaginative force that allows you to create and do. And I want to tell you this from the bottom of my heart, is that you are made in the image and the likeness of the divine. And no one, no thing has the right or the capacity to judge you as inferior, because you are not. And if I would say there's one don't, you know, Emma Curtis Hopkins used to say that there's only one no in in New Thought, and it is this: no complaining. I agree with her there. Complaining doesn't solve anything. But I would add this too, is the other one is this, is no association with anybody or anything that makes you feel inferior. Take your power back this year. Really stand on your ground. Believe that you are worthy, capable, and absolutely creating for yourself. Going back to Ernest Holmes. If you listen to peace, you will experience it. If you listen to truth, you will hear it. If you listen to power, you will receive it. If you listen to wholeness, you will discover it. You know what I often think about metaphysics is how many great teachers liken it to gardening. There's even this Buddhist term called mental hygiene. But if you think about a garden, and you know, I'm working in my own garden right now. You know, in wintertime, it's time that you kind of clear things out that you don't need. You let go. You sort of evaluate, do I want to keep this in? Do I want to let this go? I want to prepare the soil. I want to nurture the soil. I want to feed the soil. I want to make sure that there's an infrastructure that's in place for growth. It's a lot like our mind. You know, we look at what's cluttered and we get rid of it. We look at what feeds us and we nurture ourselves. We immerse ourselves, whether it be in books or community or music that we love or the things that lift our soul and create new possibilities in our imagination. This is what we begin to do. We feed and we also protect. We don't, you know, for myself, what that means is, you know, I really guard myself about movies or literature or any of those kinds of things that kind of creates a darkness. I pay attention to just how much news do I need to know without the gory details, without getting stuck into it, because these things can become very addictive. If we want peace, then we practice peace, as Ernest Holmes says. If we want joy, we invest in joy. And so our practice this week is really an evaluation of everything that lifts us up and putting our energy there. And anything that makes us inferior, it's time to cut it loose. It's time to set it free. And so this month is going to be exciting. We're dealing with the imagination. We're dealing with the thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. So stay with us this month. It's going to be great. And again, Happy New Year.
What about all the little things? What about all the plans? What about them? What about what you should do? What about what you used to? What about it? Well, you know that there's gotta be something more. And you know that you're the one you've been waiting for. So let something new come through you. Oh, let something new come through. What about what the past says and about what your dad says? What about him? What about how we're so small, living in this great big world? We think we can change it all. Well, you know that there's so much you can do. Just by sitting alone in your living room, when you let something new come through you, when you let something new come through. you can do when you let go of all you ever thought was true, and you let something new come through you. When you let something new come through.
Thank you again. Thank you again. Thank you again. I cannot say it enough. I'm so grateful that we are together in the virtual world. I'm so grateful that we have formed a community where people are getting the support of prayer, where we've had classes together and soon to have more, where we interact with each other, where we have opportunities to visit and to pray. And that you continually support us by liking us, by sharing, by making comments, and by your generous support. So this is a viable experience that we're doing. It's alive, it's growing. I'm just so grateful. And so thank you again. And to those whom you love, and to those whom you give love to and receive love from, I wish you many, many blessings this year. We are so happy to spend this New Year's with each and every one of you. Happy New Year!